So to run through them really quick before we close off, so Facebook, um, more one thing I will say about Facebook, there's a lot of horrible things to say about Facebook. They've gotten worse and worse and worse with censorship and things like that over the years. They really go after the left a lot in recent years. But the thing I will say positively about Facebook is more so than a lot of the other platforms, people are still have a lot of local contacts on Facebook. Facebook, for me is where I'm friends with people from, school, people from my family, people from my neighborhood. That's where they find me. If they find me on Facebook, and when you're a political campaign, that's a benefit, right? So I have no love for Facebook. I actually have a lot of hate for Facebook. If you meet a social media manager who's not bitter, that you need to be worried. We're angry people often, but I don't have a lot of love for Facebook. But as a political campaign, as a political organization, it can really help you make kind of network through local contacts. On Twitter, I'm mostly friends with people who are nowhere near me, people around the country, things like that. When it comes to Facebook, don't get sucked into ads. It's a vicious cycle. There are times when you can use them, right? Especially as a campaign. Campaigns are finite. They have a beginning and they have an end. You may run again, but there's a beginning and the end of every cycle. So when it comes to get out the vote, at the end of the election, don't be overly concerned about necessarily burning yourself long term by promoting get out the vote stuff and promoting some last minute stuff. That said, if you're a party or a long-term organization, be really careful. One-shot events, things like that, where you're trying to turn people out, where there's an end goal, there's an actual thing in the real world that can show up. Maybe that you can do an ad for. But your everyday, day-to-day posting, Facebook ads are intended to get you addicted and stuck in a cycle. And the way that Facebook algorithm works, we don't really know how it works, but one of the things that's been figured out kind of is that your future posts reach is dependent on your previous post reach, right? So if you reach 1,000, they'll let you reach 1,000. If you reach 1,000, they'll let you reach 1,000. If you reach 500, the next time they're only going to reach you 750. If you reach 2,000, they're going to let you reach 1,500, right? So it's kind of like keeping an average, for lack of a better term. But the way that you can really hurt yourself with ads is, you reach 1,000 organically, you pay to reach another 1,000, you've doubled it, right? But now Facebook expects you to reach 2,000 without an ad, and if you can't, they're going to cut you. They're going to reduce. They're going to ding your reach, and then now you're paying for it, right? I did a podcast, and our weekly podcast usually got about 1,500 people on Facebook. We paid for an ad to promote a big guest. The big guest already got 3 times what we usually got, and we added another time on top of it. And we found ourselves cut down to about 20% the next week when we didn't pay for an ad. And it took us about a month, 2 months to get back to where we were, all for an extra 1,500 views. It really was not worth it in the long term, but we learned a hard lesson. So Facebook, you can use ads tactically and selectively, but be very careful. On Facebook, posts I tell most campaigns, green campaigns, 2 to 3 times a day max. For the Howie campaign, there were times we were posting 5 to 7, but we were a national level, presidential campaign, and it made sense. But you got to post every day on Facebook. You got to do it, or they're going to start dinging you. They're going to say you hit 1,000 yesterday, but you hit 0 today, right? And they're going to punish you for that.